All right, guys, if you're anywhere but the state of Texas or Florida, then you're probably in a place where a gym is opening back up. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over an exercise that will help you get all the gains you wanted since before the quarantine. All right, guys, this week we'll be focusing on the squat because a better squat means you'll be able to lift more weight, burn more calories, build more muscle, and then see better results because of all of that. All right, guys, I'm going to tell you something you may already know. We've all had poor squat form advice at some point in time in our lives. It may have been from a coach or someone that you trusted. Either way, it was bad, and I'm going to go over how to have a better squat. The hips have to be behind you when you squat, but you want to preset that. You don't actually want to stand real tall and then do this motion right there. That's a no-go. As mentioned previously, guys, squatting correctly equals results, both aesthetically and with performance. All right, guys, in the squat series today, we're going to be focusing on the demands placed upon the hip, what the hip should be doing, and what you should avoid doing at the hip. At the bottom of my squat, my hips in what we call external rotation. External rotation is providing torque this way at the hip, allowing my knees to align over my toes for me to properly engage my glutes, hamstrings, quads, and perform my perfect squat. Guys, if you're trying to up your external rotation game for your squat, what you want to do is you want to start in a 90-90 position. You'll lean over to your side, and you'll do iso holds by lifting this leg up and holding as high and as long as you can. I recommend 5 to 10 seconds. You already know we're talking about the squat today, but we're going to talk specifically about the shoulder and how it can affect your ability to perform the squat. All right, guys, it is your friendly neighborhood Black Panther to remind you first and foremost, Wakanda forever, and second most, that better squats burn more calories, build more muscle, and help you get better results. When squatting, you need to be able to depress and retract your scapula. We're going to go over that, as well as provide external rotation torque about the shoulder joint. We're going to go over that as well. But those are two things needed to keep your back and your shoulder safe while squatting. All right, guys, so you have this bony structure right here, a stabilized shoulder called your scapula. See, it moves. Boom. It's meant to stabilize your shoulder. When squatting, you want it to be able to depress, which is go down, and retract, go back to help stabilize that shoulder. Once the shoulder blade has been depressed and retracted, you could then provide external rotation torque, or ER torque, about the shoulder joint, which is this motion here, engaging the back even further, helping stabilize it as you perform this weighted movement. So guys, what happens if we don't address our lack of shoulder mobility? Well, we're going to have difficulty squatting below parallel. We're going to be at risk of a back injury, and then of course a risk of a shoulder injury. So we definitely need to address this issue. Alright guys, so if you have a tight pec and a tight trap, you may not be able to then depress and retract your scapula properly, and that's okay because we're going to go over a couple exercises that will help you do those two things. If your pec is tight, all you need is a lacrosse ball. Find a wall or a squat rig or whatever, lean up against that lacrosse ball, roll it around, find spots that suck, and then practice doing this. Trap is the issue. We're going to do something similar that we did for the chest. Find that wall or the squat rig, hinge over, find a spot on your trap, and you're going to perform this motion here. All right, guys, you already know we're talking about the squats today, and specifically your knees in relation to your squat. Has anyone ever misled you and told you that squats are bad for your knees? So your fear of deep squatting may actually be the thing holding you back from getting all the gains that you so justly deserve and desire. So guys, knees are often a sensitive subject of discussion because many people are fearful of injuring them. Well, I'm happy to tell you that squats are a knee-dominant exercise that actually helps strengthen your knees. Of course, guys, if you have pre-existing injuries and or limitations, don't just go bury a squat so deep your therapist has to find it. Figure out what's going wrong with it, see if you can rehab it, address the issue, fix it before attempting to squat through the full range of motion. Of course, guys, if you have pre-existing injuries and or limitations, don't just go bury a squat so deep your therapist has to find it. Figure out what's going wrong with it, see if you can rehab it, address the issue, fix it before attempting to squat through the full range of motion. So guys, the benefits of squatting so deeply are, and not limited to, straightening of the hips, knees, and ankles, more muscle recruitment, strength, and gains, and if done correctly and depending on your issue, reduce lower back pain. As the knee, primarily discussed and talked about as a hinge joint, actually has a little bit of rotational capacity that occurs there during movements like the squat. We're going to go about how to possibly train that rotational capacity to avoid knee pain. With squatting, guys, the knee has to move in relation to the hip as far as like the rotational capacity that I mentioned in the previous video. So we're going to go over a couple movements that help you do that, help the tibia understand how to rotate in accordance with the hip and then strengthen both joints. Working on the knee in relation to the hip for the squat. So look at Optimus Prime right here. That is who that is. You're going to keep your base of your big toe on the ground. You can even grip your foot for help. Use your hip to extend this out, causing rotation. Second exercise for knee health. Now look once again Optimus Prime's face, for he is on my tibia. You're going to take a band and you're going to bring the hip out, causing rotation. Notice how Optimus Prime is moving. And then come back. Alright guys, you already know what it is today. We're talking about squats with a SKAWTZ. And we're talking about that in relation to your ankles and your calves. So, though I'm known as the quad father, the calves still play an important role in your squat. So the bigger and stronger that your calf is, the more you'll actually be able to squat. So step your calf game up. So guys, what happens with the calf during the squat? Well, on the way down, it is lengthened during the eccentric phase, and on the way up, it is shortened during the concentric phase. So the calf fires on the concentric phase to help you complete your squat. So guys, 1 in every 5 bodybuilder memes makes fun of, someone for having small calves. That's because calves are notoriously hard to grow. So we're going to talk about how to train your calves. There are 3 overarching training principles that I like to use and implement. They are frequency, the amount of times you train, volume is the amount of work being done, and time under tension. And all those can be used to give you calf gain. So guys, if you haven't been deep squatting or you haven't been traveling through a full range of motion, you may have some restrictions about the tissues surrounding your ankle, so including your calf. We're going to go over how to release those tissues to give you more ankle and calf mobility. In your ankle and freeing up the calf, all you need is a lacrosse ball, put it on the ground, put your calf on top of that. It sucks. Stack your feet, roll around, and look for places that suck. If you find a place that sucks, Do an ankle circle while applying pressure. So guys, the last day of the Skwat Series, so I look forward to a bit more squat information in relation to your torso. So, as you've probably figured out by now, we need to be able to stiffen our core and able to properly squat correctly. So, the question then becomes, how do we do exercises or perform things that actually help stiffen the core?